I promise, Principal Wards, I won't come on the premises again. This is perfect. I'll use his foolproof disguise to protect.
Immediately. All right, welcome to another School Principal Reacts. My name is Brandon, and I'm a high school principal from the U.S. state of Georgia, doing something just a little bit different here today. Many of you have requested the series Hey Arnold, so I'm going to try and do at least 1 or 2 episodes of that based on your recommendations. I want to try my best and branch out and at least do 1 or 2 of some of the other series out there that have been recommended. I still plan on doing plenty of SpongeBob SquarePants and finish out Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide. But don't worry, I plan to do many of the other series you all have recommended, including Drake and Josh, including Gumball, including several others that have been mentioned in the comments. The episode I'm doing today is called Suspended. There are a few episodes that have popped up over and over again. Another one is New Teacher. The other one is Principal Simmons, Full Moon. I plan to do those. I wanted to try and do one that had been recommended a lot and yet also had the principal in here. I'm dying to see what he's like. I do actually remember this show when it came out, but I never really watched it. So this will be a genuine reaction. I've not seen this episode before. Just a reminder, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing to the channel. Let's go. And just so I can kind of remember, I will watch part of the intro here. Yep, I definitely remember this show. I didn't really watch it so much at this point in time. I think I was getting a little older and wasn't so much into this show, but I do remember it coming on. I definitely remember the theme song. Never really watched it, so I definitely have never seen this particular episode before. Let's go ahead and get into the episode. Suspended.
I hate school. I wish I never had to go to school again.
Come on, Harold. It's not that bad.
Yes, it is. We're trapped in here day after day, doing boring stuff and standing in lines for cold, crappy food that they don't.
And right off the bat, I don't remember all these characters. I remember Arnold. It's kind of funny. If you saw the Super Bowl, there was a really funny Paramount ad where Patrick Stewart basically takes Arnold, who is sometimes in the show called Football Head, and throws him because his head is a football-shaped object up to some cliff. But whatever he was trying to do doesn't work out. I don't know if you happen to catch that. But I remember this guy is the bully. Harold, I guess, and I saw on his paper he got a D+, which we've talked about this. D's don't really exist anymore in most schools. It's just ABC, ABCF. I almost put the D in there again, but back in the day, you did have D's in there.
Don't even give me time to eat. Oh, I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I just wish there was some way I could get out of school and get to stay home and be free.
Getting suspended?
God, look at me. I'm a fireman. I'm a fireman.
What the devil is going on?
Woohoo! I'm a fireman. Oops.
Wolfgang, that is a flagrant violation of school safety rules, not to mention federal law. You're suspended.
What?
You heard me. You are hereby ordered to stay out of the school for 1 entire week.
Okay. All right, a lot to unpack here. Again, I've not seen this show in quite some time. I did, I think, gather just from the title that the principal would be in it. That's one reason I wanted to kind of start with this one. One video idea I've had for a while after I review some more different types of content is to do a tier list ranking all the principals from these shows. So I wanted to make sure I get to see him. Let me know in the comments if you think that's a good idea for me to do. So Harold, I guess, is wanting to get out of school. He sees this other guy, was it Wolfgang? Whatever his name was, run down the hall with the fire extinguisher. Now, that will definitely get you suspended at a bare minimum. And it may even get you either expelled or placed into an alternative setting. The principal, I actually think, a week out of school for tampering with the fire extinguisher and actually spraying it, that's probably right on. I don't disagree with that at all. I'm very surprised if you notice. Can you imagine, a student running down the hall with a fire extinguisher, spraying it everywhere, and he just comes out and says, "What are you doing with that?" Very calm. No, he would probably start yelling and say, "Put that down, give that to me right now." I would respond probably a lot less calm than that to get the situation under control, but he does sort of give it to him and he puts it back. And you might be asking, what's the big deal? Hopefully not. I mean, he's spraying stuff all over the place, but even more than, messing up the school, he's tampering with what is considered emergency equipment. And that's not good at all. So, in a lot of places, you have to either break something off or, use the fire extinguisher so that it kind of has to be replaced after that, depending on what kind you have. So, yeah, that's a pretty serious deal. And he gets suspended for a week. Now, I've never seen it explained like he did. He said, "You are hereby forbidden to return." I mean, yeah, that is what a suspension is. I thought pretty much everybody knew that. But let's keep going and see what happens.
Yes? Oh, well, thank you, Harold. You're right. I really should have this fire extinguisher refilled immediately. It's not safe otherwise. Thank you now.
Yeah, this is so bad. So I certainly am glad it was empty. I mentioned a minute ago that, once the fire extinguisher is used, it probably has to be replaced for obvious reasons. But he's so desperate to get out of school. Look at him. He takes the fire extinguisher that just got used and points it right at him and just tries to spray it. Nothing comes out. And the principal says, "Oh yeah, thanks for returning it. I need to refill it or get a new one," or whatever he said. I can't imagine what would have happened if it actually sprayed him. That would probably be some sort of longer term suspension or placement in some sort of alternative school program. But let's see. I guess he is not going to get suspended that way.
Class.
Hey,
Mr.
that
Warts.
stupid dork was supposed to suspend me.
Harold, did you just call me a stupid dork?
No. I mean, yes. Yes, I did call you a stupid dork.
Uh-oh.
That's a violation of the school constitution, Article 34, Section C, Paragraph 2.
No.
You're suspended.
Yes. I mean,
Yeah. All right. So a couple of things here. I saw one of the episodes that was recommended was Principal Simmons. So I don't know if there's maybe a new principal or something, but this guy, Principal Warts, he's kind of good, kind of bad. He is very, what I like is he is going by the school handbook. I talked a lot about that in Captain Underpants, where you can't just make stuff up. You have to go by the handbook, the school handbook. Now I've never heard of anyone sort of quote it like that, article, section. You wouldn't do that. You would just say, you can't do that. It's against the school handbook. That's all you have to say. And then he gets suspended. Now, I have known some principals, if they know a student wants to be suspended, because there are a few out there that like getting suspended for this exact reason. They don't have to come to school. They will intentionally assign them some other consequence, either in-school suspension or something else that they know that the student won't like, because the whole point of all of this is to correct behavior, not just to punish the student or get back at them in some way. It's to correct behavior. And so if out of school suspension isn't doing it, you have to move on to something else. And, if you get suspended more than a couple of times, most places will move on to other options for that student.
oh, gee. I can't believe they think this is a punishment. Nothing to do all day but watch TV, eat lots of junk food, and play ball.
Harold, getting
About his parent.
suspended isn't supposed to be a good thing.
What, are you kidding? This is every kid's dream. No school or books or teaching for a whole week. This is
Oh, a
gonna be
week.
the best week of my whole life.
A week. Okay. Wow. I thought he said a day. I must have misheard him. So if it was a week, yeah, that's probably a little much for calling the principal a name. In my mind, that might be something like in school suspension or something like that. Now, the fire extinguisher, I totally agree. It is suspended for a week. But for just calling someone a name, even if it's the principal, I would probably not suspend someone for a week. That's a little much.
Harold, honey, your shredded wheat is on the table.
No thanks, mother dear. I want to get to school early today to get
Oh,
a head
no.
start on my work.
Oh, no. Okay. All right. So, Yeah, I was thinking the whole time, what about his parents? There are situations I've seen where a student will be happy about being suspended, but not their parents, because number one, their parents know that it's not a good thing. Number two, they have to now deal with that student. So even if the parent is one that is not quite so engaged with that child, they now have to deal with them and make sure they're safe, or at least they should. So this kid, though, and I've seen this happen before, this kid is telling his parents that he's going to school. I don't know where he's going to go. So the parents don't know he's suspended and he's going to now go somewhere else. That is part of the reason why most schools, they're going to immediately call the parents. I mean, that principal, when he said you're suspended, he's going to immediately pick up the phone and call this kid's parents and say, your child's suspended, and here's how long they're suspended, and here's why they're suspended. Pretty much immediately.
Has he been eating the instant coffee again?
This is great. After Mom and Dad leave, I'll sneak back in the house. They'll never know I got suspended.
Oh,
and I'll
that's
have
bad.
the whole place to
Now,
myself.
don't forget to call the insurance company
Okay.
and pick up more milk on your way home.
Uh-huh.
Oh, and don't forget the dry cleaning. I'll
All
be
right.
at my book club.
Anything else, Marilyn?
I'll call you.
Lot.
Oh,
He has to break into his own house.
Ow. No school, no books, no teachers. Nothing but freedom and chocolate cheese munchies.
Guess not.
Oh, there's no good food.
Oh, I hope he did that. What kind of, these people talking about their book clubs and stuff like that seem to be kind of well off, I would think. But then you've got this going on. There's no food in the house. That's doesn't sound good.
Who cares? I don't have to eat now. There's plenty of other stuff to do.
Jumping on the bed.
Ow,
Ooh.
Stupid ceiling. Stupid bed.
Broke the
Okay,
bed. They're going to
I
notice
can watch
that.
cartoons and scary movies and all those great talk shows with those dumb people yelling and throwing chairs at each other.
We now interrupt our cartoon marathon to
Talk shows with people yelling at each other and throwing chairs. Yeah, that does kind of sound familiar. So he's not having such a good time so far. Granted, this is before the era of smartphones, etc. At least I think it is. Let's see what he ends up doing here.
bring you ongoing live coverage of the World Economic Summit from Kyoto, Japan.
Oh, it's on every
So they're making it where this day ends up being like the worst, like the most boring thing imaginable for a child is the only thing on TV, and he doesn't have any food. I wonder if he ends up going to school just because he can't take it at home. We'll see.
stupid TV. Hey, I know what I can
Basketball.
do. I'll go shoot some baskets. I'll call Stinky and Sid and... Oh,
They're at
crud,
school.
I forgot. They're all at school. Oh, well. I'll just play by myself. He turns. He fakes. He shoots.
Uh-oh. He broke the basketball hoop. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. That doesn't sound good.
I hate being suspended, and it's only Monday.
Yeah, he's got a week.
I can't take it. I want to go back to school.
Okay. And with kids that want to be out of school, they want to be suspended. I've not seen this. I'll be honest. Most students would not like being suspended for a bunch of different reasons. It's tough to keep up with your assignments if you're suspended from school. They're counted as unexcused absences in most places. Parents don't like it, obviously, because they don't want their student to become behind, and they have to now deal with them during the days that they're suspended. So I have not seen this, though, where a student wants to be suspended, gets suspended, and then wants to come back to school before the suspension is up. I've not seen that before. Usually it's one way or the other.
That's HOR for you, Gerald.
Hey, Arnold,
Uh,
over here.
Harold, what are you doing in there?
I need your help. I can't take the suspension stuff. I want to get back into school.
But Harold, I thought you wanted to get suspended.
Mhm.
No, I changed my mind.
Well, I don't know what I can do.
Just get me back into school, okay?
What's he going to do?
Look, I gotta go. Can we talk about this later?
Hey, wait!
I can't believe I left
Oh,
all this
no.
rotten cheese out in the hot sun all morning. This stuff.
Oh, that's the worst.
Stupid cheese.
Ugh. And it's like, what is he going to do? Let's say he gets into the school and he just strolls into class. You know, you can't come to school if you're suspended, and all the teachers are going to know that, including his teacher. And so they're just going to say, let's call your parents and get you out of here. They're going to find out also that he lied to them. So it would have been way better for him to not get suspended in the first place deliberately, or at least come clean to his parents about it.
Who can tell me what the colonists did to protest the tea tax? Arnold!
Huh? I'm sorry, Mr. Simmons. I just thought I saw something out the window.
Okay. So I get it now. There was another episode I was looking at called Principal Simmons. I'm guessing this guy becomes principal for a day or a period of time or something. That makes more sense. So Principal Warts is the actual principal here.
All right, Arnold, but you won't find the answer to this exciting history question out there.
I gotta get in there. Get off of me, you
Uh-oh.
stupid bee.
Oh, man. Yeah, and if you fall like that on some concrete from a second-story window, you're going to get hurt. I guess he's going to get up and be just fine. Yeah, that's not too realistic, but okay.
Harold, you're not supposed to be within 100 yards of school property.
But Principal
I'm
Wards.
sorry, Harold, but the school constitution demands that I give you another week of suspension.
Ooh.
Another week?
All right. So I have never heard a school principal talk like this where he's saying, you know, because of the school constitution, whatever. I've never heard it called a school constitution either. It's just a school handbook. Every school is going to have some sort of school handbook, which are, again, the rules of the school. I've talked about this many times on the channel. Now, if you're suspended and you somehow do something that is also against the rules during your school suspension, yes, you can have more time added on or some sort of modification of whatever consequence you've got. That's very true. Same way you can be in, let's say, in school suspension, and then you get in trouble while you're in there, and then have either more time of in-school suspension or you're suspended out of school. It works the same way. Now, this doesn't usually happen for obvious reasons, because once you're suspended out of school, you're not at school. So it's kind of tough for you to get in trouble. The most common reasons, this wouldn't exist during this time, but nowadays, let's say you got suspended for cyberbullying or bullying, and then you go home, and while you're suspended, you send a message to someone saying, I'm going to beat you up when I get back to school. Well, that's going to earn you some more time or some other consequence, because you can't do that. You're not allowed to do that. That's called cyberbullying. One other thing, he suspends him for another week. You know, the first one I don't agree with. All he did was basically insult him, and I don't even remember what he called him. Called him some name. No profanity, of course, nothing like that. And he gives him a week suspension. That's way overboard. Now, coming to the school, not telling your parents that you've been suspended, coming to the school, throwing a rope up there and hoisting yourself up to the second floor and then falling. Yeah. I would say we need to do something more and have a meeting with the parents and probably suspend him for a period of time and talk about, okay, is he even allowed to come back? You know, do we do something else with him? Not the fact that he's just there, though. He walks up to the school and tries to come in the front door. He's just going to be turned away, and that's it. It's more like doing this dangerous stuff that he's doing. And this whole 100 yards or whatever he said, 100 feet from this school, I've never heard of that. Now, it may be different in like an inner city school. I'm gathering Hey Arnold is kind of a city school, like in a downtown area, and that may be the case because there may be all sorts of other, you know, businesses and stuff right beside the school, and so they may have a rule like that. I don't know.
No, please!
Rules are rules. Now, promise me, Harold, that you won't let me catch you on the premises again.
I promise, Principal Wards, I won't come on the premises again. This is perfect. I'll use his foolproof disguise to protect.
Immediately. Oh man, this guy Harold, I remember him vaguely just from seeing like commercials of the show, but I didn't really know what his character was like. So, and the principal still didn't contact the parents. I mean, this kid lifted himself up to the second floor and he fell and hit the concrete, and somehow he's all right. But he didn't call the parents even the first time. The parents didn't seem to be aware he had been suspended. He just tells them, "Don't let me catch you here again." No, the parents are going to be, he's going to be brought into the principal's office, call the parents right there, and probably schedule a meeting and go over, okay, do we even allow him back? What do we do? Because he, could have died. He could have, hurt himself by doing what he did. And then to top it all off, he tells him, he makes him promise never to come back. And he's immediately, within seconds, trying to get some sort of pizza delivery disguise to get into the school. And again, like everybody knows he's suspended. So it's not like he can just go back to his seat and sit down and no one's going to notice. This is just so silly, but okay.
Dad, I'm delivering a pizza. Then
Ridiculous.
I'll make a run for Simmons' class. I'll just tell Simmons they cut my suspension short.
Uh,
Oh, what a great plan.
Yes. Can I
Oh.
help you?
Someone ordered a pizza for the teacher's lounge?
What are you doing, Harold?
I don't know what to...
Oh man. So he comes in and did you notice what he said? He said, "I'll just run for Simmons' class and then tell him my suspension was cut short." Now, can suspensions be cut short? Technically, yes, but it's extremely rare. That would be, let's say that you suspend someone and you have to do some sort of investigation and you find out, the circumstances were different than you thought or something like that's very rare. But he immediately bumps into the principal and he tries to explain. He says, "What are you doing, Harold?" Like he knows it's him. I don't know what this kid thought. And a lot of times with students like this, I'll tell them, like, if you just put all this energy into your actual schoolwork, you'd be just fine and wouldn't need to worry about all of this.
What are you talking about? I'm not Harold. I'm a little old Italian man delivering a pizza. See, I even have a mustache. No!
That's
Uh-oh.
another week's suspension.
Another
for you,
week.
young man.
My goodness.
Aw.
Repeat slowly after me.
Slowly after me.
No, not yet. All right, now. I will not enter the school grounds for the next 3 weeks.
Oh,
I will not enter the school ground for the next 3 weeks.
my goodness.
Good. I'll see you in 3 weeks.
This Principal Warts is not so great. At first, I thought he was okay because of the fire extinguisher thing, and he was a little weird how he did it, but that actually may deserve a week suspension, but everything else is like way overboard. And generally, a lot of places are not going to suspend a student for more than 10 days at a time, 10 school days, which would be roughly 2 weeks, 2 calendar weeks. But you wouldn't suspend a child for that long, for 3 weeks. You just wouldn't do it. Anything beyond typically 5 days, or here in Georgia, you don't see it past 10 days. You're going to be talking about other options like hearings or tribunals or some sort of alternative placement. Most school districts have some sort of alternative school program. You're going to be talking about that if what they did is really that bad. In this case, probably not. What Harold has done, actually, the worst thing is hoisting himself up like that. He could have been hurt. But does that merit being sent somewhere else? Maybe not. But the parents still don't know. The principal should have called the parents pretty much immediately and scheduled a meeting to talk about what had happened. So, but I don't know. He just tells them, "I'll see you in 3 weeks." This would never fly in a real school, but let's see how this plays out.
Good. I'll see you in 3 weeks.
Harold.
Harold.
No.
I'll be on school grounds in no time.
Oh my goodness.
What a great plan.
Hello, son. You're digging quite a hole there, aren't you?
Yeah. See, I got suspended because I called the principal a stupid dork. Ugh. And now he won't let me into the school. Ugh. So I'm gonna tunnel in.
Is that so? That's another week's suspension for you, Mr. Berman.
Oh, ow!
And fill up that hole.
So really, both of them have a lot of problems. This kid just needs to stop. He just needs to stop. But 4 weeks, no, you wouldn't keep going like that. The principal needs to call the parents, bring them in, talk about what do we do from this point, and figure out a plan to move forward. Okay, what's oh, he's going to slingshot himself in. And is school over now?
Harold, what are you doing?
See? I made this giant slingshot, and I'm gonna strap myself in and launch myself into school.
Harold, it'll never work. Besides, school's already out. You're acting crazy.
I know that, Arnold.
Then why are you doing it?
Because I'm desperate.
Oh no.
Ow! I want to go back to school.
Well. So you just keep pushing your luck, don't you, mister? I'm afraid it's another week of suspension.
Come on.
Principal Warts, look at him. Don't you think he's learned his lesson?
Rules are rules, young man.
But come on. Hasn't he suffered enough?
Son, the school constitution has very strict provisions. Now, don't test my patience.
But you're not being reasonable. You're acting like a tyrant.
That's it! I've had enough of your back talk. You're suspended for 2 days.
Oh.
You've got to be kidding.
You want to make it a week?
Oh.
We now return you to
Yeah, and you typically wouldn't do that either. And he's up to what, 5 weeks now? That's ridiculous. And I don't know if you caught what he said. He said something like the school constitution is very clear. It is important to go by the handbook. However, most handbooks are written in such a way that you can use some degree of judgment. Like, not every situation is going to be covered exactly by the handbook. So typically you'll see that it does have some level of administrator discretion in there, but that's typically so you can take other circumstances into account. And if something does not merit, let's say a week suspension. Let's say it does say something in their handbook about having a week suspension, that you don't have to necessarily give them a whole week just for calling someone a name. I mean, that's totally ridiculous. Or digging a hole. Now, the digging the hole would be a little more serious, and I'm sure whoever's property he was on would probably have a problem with that. But just the coming in with the pizza, as ridiculous that was, a week suspension, no. And you would never get up to past 2 weeks or so. And even suspending someone for that long would be for something very, very serious, not these little silly shenanigans. So both Harold and Mr. Warts both are acting very unreasonably here. And now Arnold is suspended just for trying to say that Harold shouldn't be suspended. No, that would never happen either. Unless he starts like cussing him out or something like that. No, that would never happen.
Day 2 of the World Economic Summit in Kyoto, Japan.
I can't believe he suspended me.
What are you complaining about? You only got 2 days. I got 5 weeks.
There's gotta be something we
Wow.
can do.
There's nothing, Arnold. I tried it all. Stupid warts and stupid rules.
That gives me an idea.
You want to try the slingshot again?
No, I've got a better idea. Come on.
What is this place? A prison or something?
No, Harold. It's the public library.
Mhm. He's gonna look up something helpful. He's playing games. Yeah, he's gonna find a loophole or a rule to help him out. No.
Don't you come back.
Yeah.
What the devil is wrong with you two? You're not supposed to be within 100 yards of this school.
With all due respect, sir, according to the school constitution, Article 14, Section 2, Paragraph 5, we are fully within our rights.
And it says here in Article 39, Section 4, when a student gets suspended, he can appeal it if there are outside circumstances.
And we have here 40 pages of material explaining why we have the right to be let back into school. Under Article 39, we would like a review of our case by an outside agency.
You boys make a very impressive case. The only problem is that you're talking about an outdated school constitution from 1956. This is the current constitution. And there is nothing in here about any appeal, that's for sure.
Okay, wow. So a couple of things here. I would recommend, if you're a student in school, that you are familiar with your school handbook, because no matter what the principal or anyone else may say, they have to go by what's written in there, no matter what. And this has happened before, this little scene where, that there are different versions of the handbook, as sometimes schools may change something from year to year. And so you have to make sure that you have the right one. Typically, schools will give that out at the beginning of the year, but they'll also typically post it on their school website so that everybody can have it and see it. That's only fair. So the principal could be right here where, maybe in some older version that they got from the library that, they can appeal or whatever. However, Arnold described it here and he says, no, here's the actual. And they just have like sheets of paper. I've never seen that. I've seen it in a little binding, like a school planner. I've seen a lot of schools do that. Or a little booklet of some sort that you're going to have it in a better form than that.
Please, Principal Ward, please. I can't
He's
take
begging.
it anymore. I'll do whatever you want, I promise. I won't call you any more names like stupid dork or dog breath. I learned my lesson, and I just want to come back to school.
Well, I suppose since you seem to have learned your lesson that the suspension has accomplished its desired goal. So
Okay. Thank you. My goodness. Thank you. Because he says, I suppose since you've learned your lesson, the suspension has achieved its desired goals. And yes, the desired goal is always to correct behavior, right? But a 5-week-long suspension, I've never heard of that ever, unless the student is expelled. And that's for something very, very, very serious. But let's see how this plays out here.
as of tomorrow, your suspension is itself suspended, provided you catch up on all the work you missed.
Uh-huh.
Thank you, Mount Baltimore. I love you. School.
I probably wouldn't do
Beautiful
that.
school.
He's pushing his luck.
Thanks, Principal Warts.
Wait a minute. Where are you going?
Huh?
I didn't say anything about lifting your suspension.
Oh,
But Principal Warts,
Just kidding. All right, on.
yeah, you don't kid about that stuff. He can get in trouble for that. You don't kid about suspensions. And he said that that's kind of a funny way to say it, that his suspension is itself suspended. I've never heard anybody say that. But he did mention about Harold making up his work that he missed. That's very accurate. So if you're suspended from school, typically you do have to make that work up just like any other type of absence, because your teacher hasn't stopped teaching. They're still giving out assignments and teaching their classes, and it's up to you to make sure that you do what you need to do to catch up.
Ah, Wartsy, you've done it again. The true prince must temper justice with mercy. It's no wonder the children love and respect him.
Yeah, they don't.
Hey, Wart, you wide load.
That's it, young man. You're suspended.
You can't suspend me. I'm already suspended.
Well, in that case, you're unsuspended. Get back to class.
You gotta catch me first, old ugly guy.
Come back here.
Yeah, and if that kid had already been suspended and then sprayed him with a fire extinguisher at school, and yes, out in front of the school does count. I mean, he would probably be that would probably be it for him. He would probably be sent to some sort of alternative education program at a minimum. So yeah, I mean, he would probably call the police in all reality on that, not just go chasing after him. And he's out there congratulating himself. He didn't do anything really great. I mean, he should never have suspended Harold for that long in the first place. Oh, the hole's still there. All right, well, that's the episode. I'm going to leave it right here. That one was a good one. I can see why you guys recommended this episode to me with Principal Warts. I'm not particularly a fan, but in the beginning I was a little bit, but nah, he's not the best model for a school principal, but he's not the worst either. There are quite a few that I've looked at that are even worse than him. So let me know if you think I should do the tier list later on. I am really looking forward to that as more of a long-term project. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode. I know I did. Thank you for those of you who have been recommending these Hey Arnold episodes. I may do a few more at a minimum, so keep those recommendations coming. If you're a fan of this series, I know we've got quite a few fans of this one, some of the other ones I've done, The Amazing World of Gumball, Drake and Josh, and several others. But I will get to all of those eventually. It's just going to take a little bit more time. But that's it for this first episode that I'll look at of Hey Arnold. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time on the next episode of School Principal Reacts. Thanks for watching.